So it looked like Caitlin Clark has showed her true feelings toward beat writer Scott Agnes.
I love Petty CC. Hey, Caitlin can't hide it, bro. She can't hide it, and I don't blame her. Yo, the GOAT, Caitlin Clark, damn near crashed out at the Anacon. Scott Agnes was not rocking with Scott Agnes. This is crazy. This dude showed up out of nowhere. And you know when you know somebody, you like, they pop up at the house party uninvited, like, who told you to pull up? Scott Agnes showed up at the Annika like, hey, it's me, y'all. Oh.
Caitlin Clark just had an incredibly awkward encounter caught on film, and the internet is buzzing about it. A journalist approached her at a Pro-Am event, likely expecting a cordial chat, but received a reception of pure ice instead. We're talking about visible aversion, a complete lack of eye contact, and an atmospheric shift that made all viewers cringe. The difference when compared to her other interviews is absolutely striking.
Caitlin Clark has another Pro-Am behind her. I'm Scott Agnes of FieldhouseFiles.com here at Pelican Golf Club in Bel Air, Florida here on Wednesday afternoon, where Caitlin Clark just wrapped up another Pro-Am playing with Nelly Korda on the front nine, Lauren Wynn on the back nine, and an opportunity more than anything to hopefully bring attention, to bring the spotlight.
Before we dive into this, comment below. Have you ever encountered someone at work or school who just destroys the mood the moment they appear? Share your experiences. So, Caitlin Clark was attending a Pro-Am golf event, making her usual media rounds, taking questions and maintaining her professional composure. Then Scott Agnes of Fieldhouse Files steps up to interview her. The second she realizes who is asking the question, her entire disposition transformed. We don't mean subtly either. This was a total physical reaction that anyone watching could sense through the screen.
Go for it. Caitlin, Scott Agnes, Fieldhouse Files. I'm just curious, what was it like to have that competitive juices running through you once again, even though and then also putting on a show as someone who knows the fans are here to see you?
Yeah, I mean, like, these are the things that you love, like being competitive, and you know, even when I go out and play with family or friends or whoever, like, you make it competitive. Like, you don't just go out there and hit the ball. Like, you make a game out of it. You know, you do have a 2v2, you do whatever. And I think that's what the fun part about golf. And, you know, really with anything I do in life, I'm pretty competitive. So I probably wouldn't play golf if I didn't feel those competitive juices flowing. So I think that's certainly part of it that I love.
Let's frame the scene correctly. You know the sensation when someone you'd rather not see suddenly materializes where you least expect them. It could be that colleague who injects negativity into every meeting. It could be that relative who sours every family gathering with their presence. It might be that individual from school you've managed to avoid for years. The moment they arrive, the entire atmosphere changes. A dark cloud appears. Your own smile vanishes. Your responses become clipped and short. That is precisely what occurred here.
Reaction. Her head immediately drops. She looks down at the ground. Zero eye contact. Her whole body language screams, "Why is this guy here?" She looks genuinely uncomfortable, like she's trying to figure out how to get through this interaction as quickly as possible. Her response is technically fine. She talks about being competitive, how she makes everything into a game even when playing golf with family and friends.
Scott approaches, identifies himself as Scott Agnes from Fieldhouse Files, and asks Caitlin about feeling her competitive juices flow at the golf event. It was a standard sports inquiry, nothing controversial, but observe Caitlin's reaction. Her head dips immediately. She stares down at the ground. There is zero eye contact. Her entire body language shouts, "Why is he here?" She appears genuinely ill at ease, as if she's calculating how to end this exchange as fast as possible. Her verbal response is technically adequate. She discusses her competitive nature, how she turns everything into a game, even golf, with her family, and that it's just part of her personality. All perfectly standard answers. But her delivery? Utterly cold. She is clearly just getting through the question without being overtly impolite. There's no passion, no real engagement, just going through the motions to escape. And then the moment the question concludes, you can almost see the relief flood over her. Thank goodness that's done. She looks like a person who just endured a tense elevator ride with an ex. The awkwardness was palpable, and every viewer felt it.
Question, just talk about your golf today. How was How was the round today?
A little messy off tee. I need some lessons, but I honestly haven't played a ton. But it was fun. I think anytime you get to be out here and see these women do what they do really well, it's like really inspiring and it's really fun. Obviously, this isn't the environment that I'm usually in, so it's kind of a challenge and something fun that I love that I get to do. So, just really thankful that Annika and Gamebridge have me out here, and yeah. Just a lot of fun. The weather turned out to be pretty nice. So everybody's like, sorry that it's kind of cold. I'm like, no, like it was snowing in Indianapolis this past week. So this is great weather for me, but
Now this is where it becomes truly compelling, because right after that exchange, a different reporter approaches Caitlin. This journalist is from Visit St. Pete, Clearwater, and asks if her teammates got to do anything enjoyable in the area. Observe what unfolds. A complete metamorphosis. Caitlin brightens up like a holiday display. A huge smile appears. She maintains direct eye contact the whole time. She's engaged, warm, and friendly. She mentions how she used to vacation in the area growing up, how her family has places on a nearby beach, and how she pointed out landmarks to her teammate, Lexi Hull, during the flight in. The contrast is utterly brutal. The same individual at the same event, just minutes apart, yet the energy could not be more different. With the second journalist, Caitlin seems genuinely pleased to answer. She is making eye contact. She is animated. She offers detailed replies filled with personal stories. With Scott Agnes, she could hardly even look at him. She provided the absolute minimum response required to avoid being blatantly disrespectful. So what is happening here? What's behind this stark difference? Well, if you have followed the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark with any regularity, you may already have an idea. Scott Agnes has been connected to two significant controversies this past season that likely did not go over well with Caitlin or her supporters. First, there was the dark side controversy. Scott infamously described Fever fans, particularly Caitlin supporters, as carrying a darkness with them. He effectively labeled the fan base as toxic and negative. Now, whether his point was valid isn't the real issue. The issue is that Caitlin has an enormous, dedicated fan base that has been crucial in driving attention and ratings to the WNBA. Calling them the dark side in a public forum isn't a great way to endear yourself to the athlete they support. Caitlin is protective of her image. She values her fans. She understands her supporters have endured significant criticism and negativity, some of it warranted and some of it completely unfair. So when a journalist covering her team refers to those fans as a dark cloud, she is unlikely to forget it. She's unlikely to be very excited about providing him with great sound bites and positive energy. The second controversy is perhaps even more significant. Scott Agnes decided to report on an ankle injury that the Fever organization was making an active effort to keep under wraps. This wasn't a case where the injury was already public, and he was merely giving updates. The team was intentionally not revealing it, and Scott published the story anyway. He placed it in a paywalled article disclosing information the organization preferred to keep private. From a journalistic perspective, reporting on injuries is a part of the beat. Teams conceal information constantly, and reporters work to uncover it. That is the nature of the media. But from Caitlin's and the team's viewpoint, that report created issues. It sowed division among the fan base. People began to question the secrecy around the injury. Conspiracy theories started to circulate. The entire affair became far more complicated than it needed to be. Caitlin has to look at Scott and consider the turmoil his reporting fueled, the division it created among her own supporters, and the needless drama it generated around an issue the team was attempting to manage internally. And now, he appears at a Pro-Am golf event, introduces himself by his outlet's name as if she should be thrilled to see him, and anticipates a friendly reception. It's not gonna happen. The body language is undeniable. Caitlin is fully aware of who Fieldhouse Files is. She is fully aware of who Scott Agnes is. And she is making it plain that he will not be receiving the same energy she offers other journalists. No special mentions, no excitement, no effort to go above and beyond with her answer. Simply the bare minimum of professional courtesy that the situation demanded. Consider it from this angle. If someone Caitlin genuinely liked had appeared at that event, someone she was truly happy to see, her response would have been entirely different. If it were a reporter with whom she has a strong relationship, it would be, "Oh, hey, what brings you here? It's great to see you." There would be a big smile, positive energy, and possibly a longer chat that went beyond just answering the question. But with Scott, zilch. Just an effort to get through it as quickly and with as little pain as possible. That reveals everything about her feelings toward him and his reporting. She isn't going to make a scene. She isn't going to refuse the interview. The comparison between the two interviews is what makes it all so clear. Had Caitlyn been cold and detached with every journalist there, one might argue she was simply fatigued or not in a mood for media, but that wasn't the case. She was perfectly warm and engaging with the other reporter who asked about St. Petersburg, Clearwater. She provided a lengthy, detailed, and personal answer filled with sincere emotion and nostalgia. She maintained eye contact throughout the entire exchange. So, evidently, Caitlyn was capable of being warm and friendly during interviews at that event. She simply opted not to offer that same energy to Scott Agnes, and that decision speaks volumes about her opinion of his coverage of her team and her fan base. From Scott's viewpoint, this must sting somewhat. He is a credentialed journalist who covers the Fever on a regular basis. He is performing his job, asking valid questions, and trying to generate content for his publication. It's not an ideal working dynamic, but it is also a result of his past reporting choices. Actions have consequences, and it seems one of those consequences is Caitlyn Clark delivering the frostiest interview of his career. The internet, as expected, had a field day with this. Users began comparing the two interviews side by side, analyzing every nuance of body language. The absence of eye contact with Scott versus the sustained eye contact with the other reporter. The strained smile versus the authentic one. The short, clipped replies versus the long, personal narratives. Social media sleuths were all over the case, and the general consensus was clear. Caitlyn does not care for this man. Some defended Scott, contending that he is simply doing his job as a journalist and shouldn't be punished for breaking news or expressing opinions on fan bases. The injury reporting crossed the line and demonstrated poor judgment. The discussion grew heated, as online debates concerning anything related to Caitlyn Clark often do. But no matter which side you take, the interaction itself is indisputable. You can watch the footage and see precisely what transpired. You can compare it to her other interview and form your own conclusions. And those conclusions almost universally lead to the same spot. Caitlyn Clark is not a fan of Scott Agnes, and she is no longer especially interested in concealing that fact. The entire incident also brings up fascinating questions about the rapport between athletes and the media. Athletes are generally expected to be professional and polite with reporters, even those they dislike or with whom they disagree. But they are also human beings with their own feelings and opinions. If a reporter says things about your fan base you deem offensive, or reports information that might let them know through subtle body language that you are not pleased with them, Caitlyn opted for the latter strategy. She did not decline the interview. She did not walk off. She did not utter anything disrespectful, but she communicated very clearly through her demeanor that this was not a conversation she wished to be having. Frankly, that is likely the most professional manner she could have handled it while still making her feelings understood, and that demonstration is now all over the internet for the world to see and dissect. Whether that alters anything about how he covers the team in the future is yet to be seen, but one thing is definite: he won't be getting a shout out on the New Heights podcast anytime soon. So that is the saga of Caitlyn Clark's exceptionally awkward reporter exchange. Body language does not lie, and this particular instance was screaming from the rooftops. For more content, drop your thoughts in the comments about who you believe handled this situation better. Thank you for watching. See you next time.